going on, everybody? Welcome to Viall Files. It's Monday. How you doing? Is it great? Are you feeling good? Are you excited for our episode? Tell your friends about us. I feel like we're doing great things. I don't know. I feel like we're crushing it. We have the best relationship advice podcast in the podcast industry. So I've heard. So just tell like 5 friends. Word of mouth. That's how we grow into a monster. What's wrong, Chrissy? What?
I just love. You can literally do this by yourself, and I love that about you.
What?
Have a whole conversation with yourself.
I do it all the time, 24/7 in my head. It's great. Sometimes
Are you an overthinker, perhaps?
Sometimes like Dally will like literally see me going like yelling at myself, and because I'm having a full conversation, like a fight with someone, and I'm always crushing it. I'm always winning.
Like in your head, or on your VR.
No, not VR. But like if I'm like in a debate or I'm thinking about something, and then I want to have this conversation in theory in the future with this person, but I'll have this conversation like 30 times in
your head.
Yeah, it's great.
Do the conversations out of curiosity go the way you've played them out in your head?
Oftentimes. Yeah.
Really? Huh. It's kind of cool.
Not always. Anywho, tell your
facts.
friends about us. You can tell your friends through social media by posting and you're saying how great we are.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
This
Just
is
like
the
repost
greatest.
one of our stuff. There's so much to post.
But we do appreciate when you guys give us a plug. It's amazing. We have a great episode for you today. Pretty sure I was on fire.
Yeah, more
whole
Nick
time.
Quips. Nick Quips.
Pretty sure I was on fire the whole time.
You're getting good at this advice thing. It's about time.
So be sure we'll be back tomorrow for breaking down the Women Tall All with a very surprise, very special mystery guest.
I'm so stoked for this.
It's going to be great. And then on Wednesday, very fascinating conversation, one that all you Ask Nick listeners will be very interested in. We learn about is it a science?
It's a science mixed with spirituality.
Human design.
Yes.
It's another kind of personality.
Like an Enneagram kind
It's
of.
wild. And we
like down
talked
that
to
path.
one of the world leading experts in human design, Jenna Zoe.
Yeah.
I found out about this very fascinating woman through my sister Maria. We connected. We did this interview. She's in Switzerland. I mean, and she has a cool accent. So already, great listen off the bat. But it really is fascinating.
She has a good accent. So listen.
I promise you're going to find it to be really interesting.
It was really cool. She got you spot on too.
That is Wednesday. She nailed me a little bit better than Chris Medina did.
Yeah.
I got to say.
She did. Chris had some pretty good checkpoints in there. But she
felt like
pretty
it felt like Chris just like looked at my Instagram page.
But
I could be wrong.
But Jenna
She went
nailed
deeper.
you.
She went deeper.
Yeah, she went all the way to your spleen.
My sandwich.
Your
Love.
sandwich thing. That was insane. That was so good. She nailed that on your food thing. So good. Oh my God, it was so good. The girls and I all at the same time were like, oh.
Anyway, you will want to listen. Human design. We learn all about it on Wednesday, so you'll be to check that out, and we get to break down a bunch of women. I assure you are going to be bickering on the tell-all. Should be a super weird episode, given everything that's gone on in Bachelor Nation, but we are here to power through it and break it down like no one does. So can't wait for you guys to listen. Shall we get to the episode?
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
I am Becky. I'm 24.
Hi, Becky, 24. How can I help?
So I found myself in, I actually Urban Dictionary'd this to make sure I had the right terminology for situationship.
What did Urban Dictionary say?
A relationship that has started to develop feelings and has like a physical aspect, something like that.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I'm right. I'm not exactly like in the know on all that. So I have found myself in a quote unquote situationship with a guy for about a month now, a little over a month. And so we kind of took it slow before we got physical, just because he's older than me. He's almost 30. So he's trying to kind of I guess, build a foundation for something that could last longer, which I agree with. So kind of like the Dr. Berman last week said, to kind of build a good foundation first.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And so when you say you are physical, like, are you guys having sex?
now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So at first we weren't, but now we are.
Okay.
And so we went, we like took it to the bedroom last time and started to get more physical and kind of went through all that, but then he never could finish. And so he decided, like, he asked me how I felt about him having to use a toy to finish. And I kept it cool. Like, I didn't.
You, if
Yes.
he could use a toy to finish.
Yeah. And
what,
for him,
what'd you say?
I of course, I was kind of caught off guard, but I just went with it. I was cool about it because I don't want to, of course, like make somebody feel bad or be kind of like awkward about it. So I just went with it. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever it takes. So he like rips out a toy out of the like the bed side table.
Ready to go.
And was ready to go.
What was the toy? I'm actually curious.
I don't really know.
I am unfamiliar with a toy for men that helps.
Yeah, so it was dark. The room was dark. Yeah.
You know.
So I mean, I know it wasn't like something massive.
I don't know. I'm honestly curious.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly,
What did the toy?
Like, let me see.
What did the toy do?
So it was for prostate stimulation. So
okay.
Yeah. So so he proceeds to do that and
to himself.
Finishes. Yeah.
I'm assuming there's an insertion.
Yeah.
Of said toy. Okay. He inserts the toy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you keep having sex, or the toy does the work, and you're just sitting there watching like a spectator.
Option number 2, just sit there and just kind of like,
Is he also masturbating, or this toy does all?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. I just kind of roll with it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so he finishes, and then we just go on with our night, whatever. Like go back to the living room, watch a movie, whatever it was. And so in the moment, I'm like, holy crap, is this like actually happening right now? And so after the fact, I'm kind of thinking about it because this is going to sound kind of cheesy, but everything else with him has been great. And I've kind of been not waiting for a red flag to pop up, but just very aware in case one does, especially with the whole too good to be true kind of concept. So that happened, and I'm like, should I worry about this? Is this like obviously not like super normal because I've never experienced that before and never really heard too much about people experiencing it. But I'm wondering, like, is this something I should worry about? Is this a red flag, especially when it comes to like preferences and sexuality and everything? Like, I know obviously that doesn't have to mean anything, but I just kind of wanted a second opinion on what does that first make you think, and what could that mean?
Well, I don't think it's a red flag per se. It's unique. It's something you're new to for sure. I could understand why you might personally not be into that. Yeah. So it's more of a preference than a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
He's clearly developed this preference to this toy over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Good on him for it's untraditional, but
yeah.
We talk so much about how, for a lot of women, it's difficult to, climax in what is considered more traditional ways.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, like, penetration from a man's penis. Like, a lot of women don't get off by that, and then there could be like, stimulation other ways, and there's toys and things like that. And we're definitely very kind of sex toy positive on this show, and like, hey, whatever it takes as long as everyone's safe.
Right.
This situation is unique because while I'm definitely a big advocate for women not expecting men to climax all the time, and it's not always super easy, and it's not just like an automatic thing. When we do climax, like, it's pretty much like, just pretty kind of one or two options. I've never heard of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even for me, I've never heard of it. I've never considered it. I've heard of prostate stimulation, but of all the guy friends I've had, I haven't had anyone be like, I got this toy, and honestly, like, I
might add, he is on like an anxiety and depression medication, which apparently can make it harder to.
Sure.
And
to climax in general, for sure. Yeah.
And that he'd never really had a female partner or a partner that had made him finish before. So at least it's not like something new for me or to me.
So I guess what I'm saying is, he has every right to figure out how he can climax given whatever's going on in his head, or if he has to take medication, or it's just harder for him. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a right to not be into that. I would encourage you to not run away. Like if everything else is great, if he's a nice guy, he treats you with respect. He seems to pay attention to you in bed and focused on you climax, and like there's a lot of chemistry and connection. And there's just one thing you're just like, that's I gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
Then I wouldn't necessarily. It's weird. It doesn't make him a weirdo. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm not telling you have to like it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things we're just not into, and I think just see where it goes. Have you talked to him about it at all?
No, because that just happened like last week. So, and I haven't seen him since then because we both have super busy schedules. So it just kind of happened and we went with it. And so we haven't had to talk about it yet.
Yeah. With all these things, what we talk about, more people are into it than we realize it. They're just not talking about it. As long as everything else is great. And my guess is over time, you'll just get used to it and you won't think much of it. Mm-hmm. Then maybe there's a way you guys can have fun with it together. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Why not?
Why not? Go nuts. But yeah, fun story. I didn't really, I think anyone would hope that he wouldn't always need it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like with anything. I there's things I like to indulge in, and I'm not talking about like even sexual preferences, but I hate the idea that I rely on things for anything. So like
Definitely.
if it's smoking weed to go to bed, I don't like that idea. Even though if I smoke some weed before I go to bed, I definitely sleep like a baby. But I don't like the idea of feeling I need it. From a climate, like I wouldn't want to like have to watch porn to climax. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so I think
definitely.
it's good in a relationship to kind of try to mix it up and see once you guys get more comfortable, maybe there's dirty talk or there's things that you guys can do to feel connection to make him feel a certain type of stimulation, because this might not be the only way. This is the way that he's figured out for himself as a single person.
True. Yeah, definitely.
So, well, thanks for calling. Fun story.
Yeah.
Best
I
of
thought
luck.
it was a little different.
Yeah. And good luck, with this guy, and especially if everything else is going well. I mean, it's hard enough to meet nice people. A little sex toy isn't going to hurt anyone.
Good point.
All right. Well, best of luck. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.
Get that clear skin feeling. That is right, people. Clear skin for everyone is something we all desire. And Proactive can help us get there when we're struggling. Proactive acne treatment systems have clinically proven ingredients to get clear skin, and they're dermatologist tested to be gentle. Yeah, we want gentle things on our skin. There's a Proactive for you. Whatever your needs are, dermatologist tested Proactive has 3 different acne fighting systems designed for your skin type. Proactive combines gentle skin care paired with clinically proven acne fighting ingredients. We all have stresses in life, from little to big stresses. And the last thing we want to stress about is popping pimples. So don't stress about popping pimples. Get Proactive.
Do you like to pop pimples?
Fucking love
Are you
them.
a pimple popper?
Oh, yeah.
Do you really?
Hardcore. Nothing pleases me more. Find the right Proactive system for you. Proactive has 3 different systems designed for your skin type. Proactive Solution, the original system, suitable for all skin types. Proactive Plus for sensitive skin types. And Proactive MD, prescription strength for stubborn breakouts. It's the first combination therapy system that started a skincare revolution. Right now is a great time to try Proactive. For our podcast listeners, you can get a special limited time offer by going to proactive.com/VIALL. Subscribe today, and you will receive Proactive's Hydrating Duo as a free gift. That includes 4 hydrating masks and a green tea moisturizer. Best of all, you get free shipping. Again, that's visit proactive.com/VIALL to take advantage of their special offer now. That's proactive.com/VIALL and subscribe to get consistently clear skin. I love fresh and convenient things, and I love my Freshly. Chrissy was just talking about how delicious her Freshly meal was last night. What did you eat, Chrissy?
I had the buffalo chicken with the loaded cauliflower.
Oh, she sent me pictures. I was so jealous because I didn't get to enjoy that, and I was jealous. But I'm going to enjoy that next week. Dinner can be complicated, and 2021 should be anything but. That's why Freshly is here. Their chef-made meals keep dinner delicious, simple, and better for you with healthy ingredients in every dish. Everything you need to cook dinner is complicated right now. With Freshly, it's simple. Right now, Freshly is offering our listeners $40 off your first 2 orders when you go to freshly.com/VIALL. Make eating better your New Year's resolution and get a special limited time offer. Go to freshly.com/VIALL for $40 off your first 2 orders. Try Freshly now for a limited time offer and get $40 off your first 2 orders. Go to freshly.com/VIALL to learn more. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name's Lindsay and I'm 25.
How can I help, Lindsay?
All right. So I'm talking to this guy. So I'll just give you like a backstory about us.
Amazing.
So we've met in college. We've known each other since freshman year of college, and we had like an on and off relationship. I guess I wouldn't call it like a relationship, but like an on and off thing, like hooking up, whatever, pretty much all throughout college, except 1 year I had a boyfriend. But there were always like, we did express feelings to each other, but never really did much about it besides like hook up with each other. There was like a short time sophomore year of college where kind of were like, we were in a relationship, but then it just like, it was a very short amount of time. But he would always say things to me that would make me, you know, like think that he had more feelings for me than I assumed. Like, I don't know, maybe I just was thinking that way. I don't know. He would always like do things in the end that just like hurt me, kind of, when it was just like sleeping with other people or whatever, but we were never like exclusive. So
he would be like,
I don't know if
you're cool and I think you're funny, and then have sex with someone else, basically.
Kind of, yeah, basically. Or
Okay.
like senior year, I invited him to like a dance or whatever because I thought we were like starting something, and then he ended up hooking up with someone else, and so I uninvited him and all
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So flash forward to now. It's been like 4 years since we've been out of college, and I recently started talking to him again in October, and we've been talking ever since. And he's like actually like putting in effort.
Who popped into whose life?
I popped into his life.
How so?
Kind like I Snapchatted him, and then he just started texting me, and so he just didn't stop texting.
Great. All right.
Yeah. And then so yeah, that was started in October, and then December is the first time I went to go see him because we're like long distance. He lives 3 hours away. So December is the first time I went to go see him, and then he came to see me in January, and now I'm going to see him again tomorrow. But we haven't really, we talk like every day. We've had FaceTime dates. Like I don't know. He expresses his feelings here and there, but I don't
What
think
does that
he's a very
mean?
expressive person.
When he expresses his feelings, what does it sound like?
So he said like, I think about you all the time. This is so crazy. I really like you a lot, and things like that.
Okay.
So I don't know whether like I am supposed, like I should just be like, what are we? Because this is the longest that I've gone when talking to a guy, like before defining the relationship.
Never ask a guy, what are we? I don't even know what that means. What are we? Human?
Well,
You know,
I wouldn't say it
alive?
like that.
You know,
Yeah.
but no, people do. I don't mean you say you wouldn't say it like that, but
No.
people do it all the time. So like, what are we? Like,
Yeah.
you know, so you're seeing him tomorrow,
Right.
and you
So,
once again, for probably what probably feels like the umpteenth time, you want to try to get him to commit to a relationship with you. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that accurate?
Yes. So before I went to see him the first time, I did ask him what he wanted out of this because I had real feelings for him, and I wanted to know
That's your
before I
mistake.
went down.
So here's what you need to do,
Yeah.
and here's what's probably going to happen. And I don't know the final outcome, but I can tell you what you should do, and then I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the short term.
Okay.
Because the next time you see him, if you want to have some sex and just enjoy, like, you know, his company, because, you know, you have fun with him, go ahead, enjoy yourself. You know, are you hanging out from a weekend? You know, you can go visit him. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
When the weekend's about to come to an end, you just say, hey, listen, this is how I feel about you. You don't ask him how he feels. You tell him how you feel. You be very specific. You be unafraid. You be bold. And you, at the risk of being disappointed, you tell him exactly how you feel and what you want. You tell him what your expectations are. You tell him all that. And you say it very confidently. And you say it almost unafraid of what he might say. Because what he's going to say is no. In some sort of long form version, he's going to be like, I don't know, yeah, maybe not. There is no magic thing you can say. There's no super, like, well, if I say it a certain way, then he'll say, no. He's almost certainly going to disappoint you and not give you what you want. Why? Because he has no reason to. Because up until now, there is a track record of having sex with you, hanging out with you, all while having the freedom to do what the fuck he wants. And even though, like, sometimes it requires you guys to stop talking because you just get too fed up with his bullshit, he will always be able to have you back in his life when you get just bored enough to Snapchat him again. You're just going to tell him how you feel. And you're going to be real direct. And you're going to say it confidently, unafraid. I have no problem telling you how I feel about you because it's how I feel about you and I'm in charge of my feelings. Don't say that, but that's how you should sound. That's what you should say to yourself. You should practice it in the mirror. And then when he does disappoint you, you just, because you're expecting it, you go, okay, listen, I'm just glad I told you how I feel. But I do want to make it clear that I don't want to keep doing this. I've done it with you. It's a great time. I'm not mad. I don't want to argue with you. I'm not even here to convince you why you're wrong. I'm just letting you know what I want. This is all about what you want. You want a relationship with him. The next thing is not hanging out with him when he doesn't want a relationship with you. It's all about you. You're very selfish right now. And then you disappear. You leave. And then you won't hear from him for a while. And maybe, just maybe, he'll reach out to you. You never fucking reach out to him again. You make sure he reaches out to you. And if he does, he better come at you with some real strong game and some real conviction of what he wants. He doesn't get to come back to you and check in and see if he wants to hang out with you non-committal and like hope that you've changed your mind and you lost some conviction of what you want. He might try that. And if he does that, he's never going to change. He's got to really, oh, by the way, when he does reach out, don't call him back right away. Be doing something else. Give them the illusion that you're out there fucking a bunch of dudes having a great time doing it, and it's a fucking ball, and scare the shit out of him. And then maybe he comes back, and he better want to be with you and be willing to fight for you and go out of his way to make sure that he is deserving of your love. And that is the only way this is going to work out. I give it a 20% chance.
20% chance that that would happen if.
That you're gonna end up with this guy. You're gonna date him, and that he's gonna really commit to you. But that's pretty high. That's not bad. I mean, other people I'd say like 2.
Okay.
But
so you don't think that like it being like 4 years later and him like showing me that he's putting in effort makes any difference?
No. He likes you. You're nice. You're a good hang. He likes having sex with you. He's cool. But part of this, he just doesn't have to. He's human. I've done this before. I kind of did this with my current girlfriend. It's different. We didn't have the history that you have, but there was a little bit of like, and I had my certain reasons and there's difference, but ultimately it came down to is I was afraid to commit. So I didn't. I don't know what his reasons. Maybe he has some valid fears and insecurities. It doesn't matter. It's just not your problem anymore.
Right.
And you need to show him that you're going to be totally fine and okay without him. Because you will, by the way. You will thrive without him. And once he believes that, and once he believes that he can no longer have his cake and eat it too, then maybe he will finally appreciate how great you are.
Okay.
Don't ask him what he wants. You are uninterested in what he wants.
It's like tell him what I want and then see how he responds.
Yeah.
Right.
He almost will certainly disappoint you in the short term.
That's what makes me nervous.
Start preparing yourself for that.
Okay.
Also, it would be a strong move if you don't go and you call him up right now and you tell him how you feel before you go ahead and get some good sex. But listen, you're human. It's fine. You can go ahead and do this and still, the outcome really won't change. But that would be the stronger move.
I did buy a train ticket, so I'd rather just
There you go. So go get the sex and then do it at the end of the trip. But either way, go ahead and feel free to be really fucking selfish this weekend.
Okay.
Have some fun and tell him what you want. Don't ask him about his feelings. Don't ask him about treat him, for now, just kind of objectify him and just just be like, I'm not interested. I am not interested. You're only interested in him hearing you, probably hopefully for the first time ever.
All right. So it'll just be like statements at the end of the weekend.
I would literally practice this in the mirror and to your friends.
I'm probably going to.
And believe in yourself, and you're going to be okay, and you're gonna be over it, and you're going to be fine.
Right.
And this guy has wasted enough of your time.
Yeah. I think too, I just like, like through the years or whatever, I just like build up what like I want, I guess, in my head. You know what I mean? So like,
I'm sure you've made excuses for him and you've justified his actions, and he's been very convincing of why he's not emotionally ready or unwanting, or whether it was college or I don't know. I don't care what his reason is. Doesn't matter.
Right.
He has to be afraid to lose you, and he is not.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
nothing you say in the short term is going to get him to believe you, because your actions have shown him otherwise. What you're doing at the end of this weekend of sex is to set up what you're about to show him.
Okay.
So don't try to say it in a magic way. Doesn't work. Just be very short, very direct, and be totally fine. But like, listen, I know you're not going to. Just tell him that. Oh, that'll drive him nuts. I know you're not going to commit. I understand. This is who you are. I'm just telling you how I feel, and I am proud that I can tell you how I feel about you. And I'm going to be fine. But before I go, I want you to know how I feel about you, and I want you to know what I want.
Okay.
That'll piss him off.
All right. I will practice that.
All right. Good luck.
All right. Thank you very much for talking with me.
All right. Take care.
Bye. You too.
Bye-bye. For a lot of us, that's right. The start of a new year feels like the right time to schedule a doctor's appointment to check in and see where you are at health-wise. Yeah. What about your reproductive health? Great question.
Yeah. What about it?
What about it? Listen, I want to be a dad someday. I know family planning is a big thing for a lot of people, and you can't have too much information. It doesn't matter if you're looking to have a family now, maybe in the future. It's always great to get ahead of the game with the information you need to make sure that you put yourself in the best position to have the family that you desire, whatever that may look like. What if I told you could get the important information about your fertility and your reproductive health without spending a ton of money or even having to go to a doctor? I would think, wow, that's super convenient and affordable. Well, Modern Fertility is here to make that happen for you. Knowledge is power, and when you know more, you can make better decisions for your body, your health, and your future. That's why Modern Fertility was created. It's the easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home with a single finger prick, or print. I don't know. Maybe your fingerprints tell you something.
Finger prick.
But probably not. It's probably a finger prick.
It's a finger prick.
Mail it in with a prepared label, and you'll get a personalized result within 10 days. Traditional testing with your doctor can cost over $1,000, but Modern Fertility only costs $159 to get the same information. Not to mention, it probably takes weeks, maybe months to get a doctor appointment. Not with Modern Fertility. 10 days. And if you go to modernfertility.com right now, you'll get an additional $20 off. So if you're good at math, that's $139. Also, if you have a HSA or FSA, you can use those dollars towards Modern Fertility. Right now, Modern Fertility is offering their listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com and use our code VIALL. That means your test will cost $139 instead of the hundreds or possibly thousands of dollars at a doctor's office. $20 off Modern Fertility when you go to modernfertility.com/VIALL. Modernfertility.com/VIALL. Nothing helps me relax more than rubbing some essential oils on my body when I'm feeling stressed and anxious. Like our release
or sticking something in your prostate. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that helps too. But if that doesn't work, go ahead and rub some essential oils on your body and just feel the cool release of relax. Feel the cool release of release, I guess. Also great with helping headaches. If you don't want to rely on ibuprofen or Advil or things like that are not good for your stomach, or spraying Febreze and all these toxic chemicals into your home, get safe USDA organic essential oils in your house and on your body at NHOils.com. Save 25% off code Chrissy, KRISSY. Free shipping, NHOils.com. Make it natural, people. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Courtney, and I'm 24.
Awesome. How can I help, Courtney?
So I had been dating this guy for about 2.5 years. When our relationship first started, for the first year, it was a little rocky, to say the least. He had some addiction issues and just some stuff in his past that was very, very much still prevalent in certain ways. And then there was an ex-girlfriend that was kind of in and out of the picture when she found out we were dating, caused some problems, wanted to then confess her love still for him and all these different things. But throughout that year, we were just kind of learning each other and the do's and the don'ts of the things that we want and we don't want. And we got to a place where, you know, anytime anything would happen, he was very apologetic. He was quick to change his behavior. He knew how to like acknowledge that he was wrong and all the things that you would want if somebody was going to make a mistake. And then at the end of the year, in 2019, we got into this fight, and it was kind of the end fight of the fact that he needed to become sober. He became sober, went to church, the church that I go to, found a counselor, did all the right things. The counselor came back and told him that, you know, you need to be honest and real with anything that's kind of taken place and happened. So he confessed to having cheated with his ex-girlfriend throughout our relationship.
So while you guys were dating, he was having sex with his ex-girlfriend.
He only once, but yes. But there was also communication throughout while we were dating. So they had sex, and then there was communication happening still up until like the middle of the year. That's when it cut off. And then at the end of the year, when all this huge fight happened, it was like, okay, we're going sober, like we're getting into counseling, and also here's what I've done, and I want to be honest and upfront. So we started working through those things. This past year has been amazing. He started before the pandemic happened, he had started AA. It was working the 12-step program. And we ended up moving in together. We got a dog together. My family took him in and truly like saw him become a different person. He changed everything about himself. Was kind of the person that I think I saw and had fallen in love with all along. And then towards about October of last year, we started bickering a lot, and a lot of it was due to the fact that he had stopped doing AA with the pandemic. He kind of had gotten lazy, and a lot of it made me really scared and fearful that some old patterns would start again, because he wasn't working or doing anything to keep himself in the place that he promised that he would. So we would kind of bicker a lot, and it was always about stupid things, but at the root of it all, it was about like the bigger issues that we've dealt with in the past. Mm-hmm. That happened in January of this year, and we got into a big enough fight for him to leave, which normally doesn't happen. He left. He texted me the first night that he left saying that he was going to his sober friend's house, which I saw as a positive sign. He was letting me know where he was, and he chose a sober friend to go to. Came back. We started kind of arguing again, but when he came back, I noticed a completely like different person. He was like stone cold, no emotion, no anything. So I just totally shifted gears, and I just like started trying to just like encourage him and let him know that I think that we've just fallen off a little bit, and these are the things we need to do. And if he's willing and I'm willing, like we can get back on track and things are fine, and you know, we can make this work. And he just acted like he had no emotion at all. So finally, after like 2 days of crying and trying to like encourage him after everything, I just said, you either have to talk to me, we've got to work this out, or you've got to go, because I can't live in like the middle area anymore. He kind of ignored that, stayed in the other room, didn't do much. Finally, I kind of I put my foot down, and I was like, okay, I really mean this. Like, you have to go if you're not going to do this. He left. Seeing that he left, and then he didn't like tell me where he was going or reach out or anything, I genuinely was like, okay, he's probably going to come back and want to leave. That's never happened before, but maybe. So we're both actors. We had left to go do some filming, and so some of the footage that was on his hard drive, I wanted to put over on my computer. So I did. When I got onto my computer, his email was logged in. And I could see that he had a confirmation number. He had left and got a hotel room. There was about 3 hours of absolutely nothing, and then he started taking lifts everywhere. He took a lift downtown Los Angeles and was there for 1 hour, picked back up, and then Venmo'd a girl $200. So when I saw that, I immediately knew, also because of his past, that he had done this before, that he had got a prostitute, and that meant that he had relapsed. And then I was able to go further down the email, and I saw when he left my house, within like 30 minutes, he had downloaded a bunch of dating apps, and one of the apps was Grindr.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
what is it going to take for you to just be done?
What would it take for me to be done?
Yeah. I mean, you've told this very kind of outrageous story about your partner, all of which has been you sounding wildly sympathetic. Like, it's like, you know, a lot of people do this. You're not the only one. It's like you're not like delusional that these crazy things don't bother you. They clearly bother you, right? You're putting up with it. It sounds like this is something you've dealt with over and over. But like, and to be clear, this is your boyfriend. This is not your husband.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So even spouses don't put up with this type of behavior, but you have this.
Right.
For some reason, it seems like you've decided that you're in it no matter what. And as long as he's willing to apologize and try to keep working on these mistakes he's making, you will. It sounds like, I don't know, I'm just, you know, I could be wrong, but it sounds like you have this endless amount of ability to accept these mistakes as long as he's willing to try again. And I'm just wondering, what is it going to take for you to just simply be done?
Well, this has definitely topped it off for me, and like I am. I think in the past, like, and I've noticed through also like just going through therapy, even just like this past month that we've been broken up, like realizing that it can be a great thing, but it's also a huge flaw of mine of being like a little too forgiving or too understanding or falling in love too fast and too quick and not like forgetting my own boundaries. Because to be honest, like in past relationships, that was never ever a thing. I think like with this one, I was just like, oh my God, like I love him. You know what I mean? And then I put up with it for a while, way more than I should. But then when I saw the change in him, which is really when I found out the whole picture of everything, I genuinely saw someone like completely change who they were. So it made me for another year, like believe and think. And then for that whole year, it was like, it was perfect. Like it was amazing. And so I think that was why it also took, like, it let me forgive him, like to a place where I would have probably never before.
Yeah, I mean, what sounds like is that what you fell in love with was a person he was capable of being.
Yeah.
But not who he was.
Right.
And he showed you that, and you loved that. You didn't necessarily love him. And then when you lost that, what became more of a focus for you was to get that thing back that you liked so much. Without ever considering and having a hard conversation with yourself whether like this was actually who he was.
Well, and that's the thing that I'm realizing is like, especially like when I saw the Grindr thing, I honestly was like, okay, he was drunk and he accidentally downloaded this one. And I know that sounds so stupid, but like I really was like, there's no way. And then I went back through.
To be totally honest, like the Grindr thing is just like, to me, like the least of like, you know what I'm saying? Like this isn't like.
Yeah.
And if you called me up and said, hey, like I've been dating this guy, it's all pretty well, but like it's all going fairly well, and there's, you know, couple red flags, but all of a sudden I noticed that he dated Grindr. Am I dating someone who might be bisexual or gay, and how do I deal with that? That's not even what this is about, you know? And that could be an issue. Like this is a guy who struggles with addiction, and that, you know, and almost uses as a crutch and an excuse to get you to, give him a longer leash than he might deserve despite his addiction.
Right.
Do you put up with lies and deceit and betrayal and infidelity? And the Grindr app, it's just like, just add that to the list. I mean, I wouldn't even focus on that. I mean, that shouldn't be what breaks the camel's back, or whatever, the straw that breaks, you know. Like, yeah, exactly. I would think all the other things, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing it's like, I really think this is more of a you problem than a him problem, because no one should put up with this, not especially in a dating situation. I mean, let alone like sharing a family and having kids together, or owning a home, or like giving your marriage vows. This is the guy that you dated. I mean, how long have you been dating him?
2.5 years.
And in those 2.5 years, how many months would you say have been what you would describe as great? Like
January 2020 to like maybe May. And then it started slowly declining again.
Okay. So in 2 years, is it safe to say, over 24 months, maybe 6?
Yeah.
And then, is that probably even being generous?
Probably.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. That's the problem. Like, I don't know because I've never had that issue before. And I don't know what it is that keeps me like lying to myself or trying to see better or like, or being like, and right now, like my biggest question, I guess, and why even like I'm wanting a guy's opinion is like, since he's found out that I know, because I actually just called his sister and I was like, your brother's relapsed. And I have no, he used like a long time ago, about 5 years ago, he was a heroin addict. So I'm like, I don't know what extent he's going to take this to. And it scares me, but it's no longer my place. And I'm not chasing him anymore like I have. So I'm just trying to let somebody know in case this goes really south, like that's what's taking place right now. And so he only even found out that I knew that I had seen everything because of his sister. It took him 5 days to even reach out to me. When he did reach out to me, it was literally all about logistics of how he can get his stuff and move out. I was sweet and all of that. I packed his stuff up. I gave him a bag in the meantime. Not him. I haven't seen him since he left. So I haven't seen him in over a month, but he's never come back. He's never apologized. He actually ended up moving 3 buildings down.
So yeah, I mean that's my problem. Is just like you haven't seen him in a month, but it sounds like that's more his choice than yours. You haven't like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're almost kind of waiting every day to wonder if he's like when he's going to come back and for whatever reason, and if he does come back, is he going to be cold or is he going to say I'm sorry? And you and that's what you're focused on, and that's not what you should be focused on. You are now stuck in this kind of circular trap of at least trying to like getting an apology and feel validated for what you've given him and the love and consideration and the patience and you've been there for him. And now there's a party that almost feels like you're owed. And I get it, all that, but like the only thing you should do at this point is remove this toxic person from your life, cut him out. And listen, is it great that you did what you did and called his sister and said like, listen, this person's no longer my problem? But as someone who just cares about another human from person to person, like you need to know what's going on. But like, I need to like, from this point on, I'm out. I need to remove myself. I'm releasing myself of any guilt or burden of what happens next with his life because it's not my problem. I tried. I've been there for him, but now I need to worry about me. But you haven't taken that step. Well, you're still waiting for him. You're on his time. You know? Yeah.
I think it's just hard because like, he's tried to be like, oh, I'll come get my stuff. And I have like put my foot down and been like, no, you need to either have a friend come do it or I will drop it off at a friend. Like, I don't need to see you. I don't want to do this. Like,
but
so I know,
why
like,
haven't you done that?
I have.
You don't
like,
have his stuff?
No, I've given his stuff to his
good.
friends. Yeah.
Great.
Like he's tried to like do that whole exchange together in person. And I was like, I don't want to do that because again, I'm acknowledging the fact that like, I don't want to be sweet talked into or feel bad or like, I don't want to take the chance of seeing you and not following through with what I know I need to do. So I'll either go to one of your friends or have one of your friends come to me and like, let's just do it that way. And so it wasn't the way he wanted to do it, but like, it is the way that I made sure that it went and it happened. But I think like the thing for me that's hard is like, now it's all said and done. His stuff's moved out. It's been a month. I just like am so shocked that, and I'm moving forward. Like I'm not seeing him. Like I don't actually want to see him. I just am shocked that I haven't even gotten like an apology through a text of like, I'm really sorry that I just spent 2.5 years with you and you did all of this for me. And then I don't even apologize.
You got to let that go.
Yeah.
Also, if I were just some tough love, like you didn't do this for credit. You didn't do like,
no, yeah.
So you have to accept that you did this because you cared about him. It wasn't to get validation or because you wanted to feel like a good person. And sometimes often we're never fully appreciated the way we should feel. So just take solace in the fact that like you did the right thing, regardless of whether you felt gratitude or you were thanked, but like you need to move on. You're never going to get the thank you. And even if you did, how would you even know it's sincere and not some sort of manipulation tactic for him to get you back in his life? I mean, how can you believe anything this guy says and does at this point?
Yeah, that's true. I think
what happens if you got the apology? Like, what would that? I wouldn't believe that it's a sincere apology.
No, and I think you're right. Like when I think about it, I know it's at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything or do much. I just think it's like an ego thing of like, freaking apologize for being such a douchebag and like being a dick for 2.5 years when I did nothing
have to
but
forgive
whatever.
yourself for what you know to be true is that deep down,
Yeah.
you wasted some time on this guy. You were way too lenient with this guy. You gave him too much of a leash. You allowed yourself to be manipulated. You have to forgive yourself for these things because you're having a hard time doing that. So your solution to this is to get him to apologize so that you don't have to apologize to yourself. You just have to let it go. And you can feel good about yourself for, being a good person, but you have to realize, listen, you wasted some time. We've all done it. Your ego feels a little stupid, a little naive, a little used, a little manipulated, all those things. And your ego wants answers for that. And it's pissed off and mad. And you got to tell your ego to shut up, and you got to worry about what you need. And that is to just let this go because it's consuming you even now more than you realize.
Yeah.
And until you just forgive yourself for this, like, you're never going to get over it because I promise you, is never going to give you the closure that your ego wants. Because, like, how do you believe it? Your ego will believe it. Your ego's going to be like, see, I told you, we're awesome. We made the right choice to stick in it because we are great. He just hasn't fully seen it yet.
Yeah.
But, it's just a matter of time before it happens again. So it's kind of on you now. This is very much a you problem that you need to work on for yourself that doesn't require him at all to be a part of. And just let it go.
Right.
You got to let it go. We've all wasted time. We've made mistakes. We all like to think of ourselves as good judges of character and think like we always get that wrong all the time.
Yeah.
And you got it wrong a little bit, and that's okay. And you got a little more fixated on who you thought he could be or who he was for a moment and not who he was. And you don't want to feel like you got that wrong. We all hate being duped. Oh, it's one of the worst feelings we can have is to feel taken advantage of and used or
well, it's also hard just because, like, even with all of that, like, I just, like, he became my best friend in it. So, like, I'm also just, like, so heartbroken, like, that he's chosen to go back to that life.
I know.
And, like, for the first, he's a lot older than me. He's 33. So, like, for the first time in his life, he had, experienced a sober life that was fulfilling and had the right things in it. And I know that in that time, it did make him happy. But it's like, it's just heartbreaking, even from just like a friend standpoint.
That is your ego. That is your ego saying, we got you to this place that you were better off. And why wasn't that good enough for you?
Yeah, I just it's just hard to see him choose it again. Like,
I mean, addiction sucks.
I worry about it.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, like, and I don't mean to sound cold, and it really sucks. And we're all hoping for the best for this guy, but it's not your problem. And your ego can't be so strong that you think you're the only person who can save him. He's going to have to save himself. He's got a sister. He's got, and it's just it's going to hurt you. And I know I believe that he was your best friend. You can get a new best friend. Our best friends come and go, we evolve, our friends evolve. Sometimes we grow apart. Sometimes we grow together. And you guys are growing apart.
Do you feel like then the fact that he was able to go back to doing that so quickly means that, like, really he was never genuinely, like, pursuing those things?
I think that's just your ego wondering those things. I'm not a professional when it comes to addiction. It sounds like all I do know about addiction is that it sucks. It's a disease. It's terrible. It's unfortunate. It hurts a lot of people. I don't have that answer, But I can tell you that your ego wants to put all these labels and assess value and importance to the things that you did and I don't have those answers. It sounds like he's sick and he needs some real help and he needs to figure out how to do that and it's no longer your problem. And I think you need to let go of that burden and you have to be careful not to let your ego make you feel righteous in your endeavor to help him when all it really wants to do is feel special.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. I know it sucks.
It sucks so much. Yeah. Cause like more than anything, I just like genuinely like just hope that he like is fine and like doesn't have like
And that's
a
okay. That's
know.
okay to feel that. You can feel love for him. You can wish him the best. You can pray for him, but you have to let him go, and you have to get him out of your thoughts. And you're obsessed with this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You have an addiction to this situation you have gotten yourself in, and your ego is controlling what motivates you, and you need to work through this so you can get over it. And otherwise you can be in this thing for years, and it's gonna really hurt you, and it can hurt you even more than it's already hurt you. So you got to start protecting yourself.
Yeah, I think I just need to, like you said, just like focus on me and like my healing with it, and not need the answers and not need to understand it, and just move forward.
Yeah, and it's hard. You're gonna have your good days and bad days. Don't be afraid to talk to a therapist about this and work through it. But you got to tell yourself that you truly are done, and you got to start asking why, and you got to start hoping for an apology or validation for what you've already invested. Sometimes we just have to cut our losses and move on. You know?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I made a choice and invested $20,000, and then realized that was really dumb, and I had to get out of it. And I lost $20,000, and it fucking sucks. But what I chose to do is just I chose to lose $20,000, not $100,000. And if I had not, made that tough loss and hope that, I don't know if I would have, but I do know, I kind of I was just like, this is most likely is going to keep getting in a bad situation, and I can either put more time and energy and money into it, or I can just cut my losses. And you know what? That was years ago. It's fine. And every time it gets, even now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm like irritated, I'm bugged, but like, you just gotta fucking let it go.
Yeah.
You gotta deal with it. And we make bad choices sometimes, but the best thing we can do is recognize it as soon as possible, and then make that problem not worse, or stop it from becoming worse. And that's where you're at right now. I'm sorry.
All right.
You got to be strong
okay.
here. You really need to be
you.
strong. This is on you.
Yeah.
This is on you. Ask your friends to check you. Ask your friends to not let you, you need to ask. Don't ask your friends for excuses and validation to keep doing what you're doing. You need to ask your friends for some tough love, because you need it right now.
All righty.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Best of luck. I'm rooting for you.
All right. Thank you.
How's it going?
Hey, this is Jackson, 28. How's it going, Nick?
Good, Jackson. How can I help?
I have been engaged now for 2 weeks.
Congratulations.
I got engaged at the end of I got engaged at the end of January. She's absolutely the love of my life. It's taken me a long, hard journey to find her, even though I'm only 28 years old. You're probably rolling your eyes, but it's one of those. It's one of those things where I grew up in a very Christian household. I went to a Christian college, and it kind of gets bred in you that this is going to happen really early on in your life.
I feel you.
And
for sure,
my sister got married at 22, and it just is it's a thing in my family where you have kids young, you do everything young. And I've had a few girlfriends in high school cheated on me, a few girlfriends in college cheat on me. Girls make you think they like you, and then they use you, and then they things don't go the way you think they're going to go. And so for about probably the last 6 to 8 months, I'm a very vivid dreamer. I remember my dreams, and I have been having sexual dreams about other girls. I look over and I see my fiance, or I think it's supposed to be my fiance, and it's not. And it's something that we talked about a few times. In the beginning, I definitely opened up, it was emotional for me because I love her. Everything about her, she's intelligent. She just brings so much joy into my life. She's family oriented, but it just hurts me in the fact of, why are these people that literally I don't talk to anymore, or I have no feelings for anymore, in that, in my mind, in the back of my mind, I guess.
So does your fiance know you've had these dreams?
Yeah, I'm very open. I'm probably I'm a communication major. I probably
Like
I'm
too
in
open?
sales.
You're too.
I'm probably too open.
I've been
Yeah.
accused of that in the past. Like, you know what? I didn't even
Yeah.
know that. You know.
Yeah.
And so, what's your question, or what's your biggest problem with this?
I guess my biggest question and my biggest problem is, one, should I feel guilty? But then two, I guess, is this somewhat normal? And, or yeah, I guess, I mean, yeah, faith's a big thing for me. I did have sex before in high school. Yeah, I have sex with my fiance. So it's just hard, I guess you could say.
I think you're okay, man. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not an expert in dreams, but I do know people have dreams. I know I personally have dreams. I'm not necessarily a vivid dreamer, but I've dreamed about almost every ex I've ever had from time to time. I sometimes have weird fucking dreams about random people I interacted with. I don't necessarily know what they mean, but our brain is kind of a beautiful mystery type of thing. And I, as someone who grew up very religious, again, we've talked about, there's a lot of judgment and shame that comes from religion, and there's a lot of people who use religion to judge and shame people to kind of project their own insecurities and things on themselves. Unless this is some sort of chronic problem that just doesn't go away, I still don't think you have anything to feel guilty about. But if it's, what I'm saying is, if it's something that's like every day, every night, and it never goes away, then maybe there's something you need to address and deal with, and maybe talking to a therapist or an expert to kind of try to dig into that, why you might be having it. But I personally think God's fine with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, you are human. Kudos on you for being able to communicate with your wife about this. And I don't know, how does she respond to that? Like, is she glad you tell her, or is she almost like, I didn't need to know that? Where does she stand on that?
The first time it happened, it was like, I was like very emotional about it because I felt like I cheated. But yeah, eventually she was just, after like the third time, she was like, you don't need to tell me. I mean, I know you're like, laying here with me. Like, it's not, we don't sleep in separate beds. Like we don't, with the pandemic, we moved in pretty much like the second week of March, were, so it's like, and I'm obviously not traveling right now because of COVID related and all that stuff. So it's just, we're in the same bed every single night.
Yeah.
And so I think that was her response, is like, okay, I don't need to know. I don't have any problems. Like, I know you're not going to cheat. I know.
Does she have the same background as you in terms of religious background?
No,
Okay.
she doesn't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Her
Thank God.
Her mom's side, her mom's side is a little bit more, but her parents didn't bring them up.
It's interesting because I get where you're coming from, right? And a lot of times you clearly have this desire to love your fiance and future wife the right way, and you value that, and that's amazing, right? But I just personally believe that love and real love comes from that choice and sacrifice to focus on your wife and love your wife, and the fact the fact that you're attracted to her isn't why doesn't necessarily speak to the real love that you have for her. You are a man. You're a human being, and we have our thoughts and feelings, right? And now it's great on you for not indulging in those temptations. You've heard of temptation. You're religious, so we are tempted all the time. And when you close your eyes and go to bed, you lose control over that, right? Now, if you woke up and you're like, oh, that was super hot, and then you're like, you decided to go to Instagram and look up the girl you had a dream about and DM'd her and been like, hey, I had this super hot dream about you. Can I talk to you about it? And that would be kind of fucked up and wrong. But you're not doing that, right? Like, you're just,
no.
Your mind's going nuts, and that's okay. Like, you can love your wife unconditionally. You could be the most faithful husband, and there are going to be moments where you watch a movie, come across some porn, see a girl in the street, and you're going to go, that's a very attractive person. You know, that you didn't cheat on your wife, man. Like, and your wife is going to say the same thing about other guys. The real love.
Oh, she does when
Yeah.
we watch a basketball game or if
Exactly.
we watch, whatever,
Yeah.
watch a movie or whatever. She's like, that guy's really attractive. And
Yeah.
she does it as more like a playful, it bugs me.
And
Or,
that's
not that even that it bugs me, but it's just like, it's like, let me know.
totally.
I mean, I think what you said was perfectly true is that the first date we ever went on, yeah, I took her back to her apartment. When we made out and stuff, but you just grow to love that person so much that you love them for like the physical attraction is probably the least thing you love about them because it's the easiest.
Well, that's I mean, that's kind of like what attracts you, and that's the lust, and you certainly like that about them, and you love that you are physically attracted to them. But you're right, that's not necessarily what you love about them. And that's not necessarily why you're making sacrifices to like give up certain freedoms and the ability to do whatever the hell you want because you want to commit to this relationship and this person. Me personally, I get uncomfortable if I'm dating someone that are like, I only have eyes for you. Everyone else is ugly. You're the best. I'm like, I know that's not true. And I don't need you to tell me that to make me feel safe. It's okay that it's okay that you find other people attractive. I just want you to be faithful to me. I just want you to be able to talk to me about that. You're right. Certain times there's a limit. I don't need to if you want to go ahead and indulge and let your mind wander, me personally, I'm fine with that because it comes down to making sacrifices and choices and what you have. So I let go of the guilt, man. Don't beat yourself up. That's just going to be unnecessary stress and anxiety. But, again, short of you having this nightly and it doesn't go away and there's these really intense dreams and you can't get out of your head and you find yourself obsessing over it, then maybe dig into that and talk to a therapist. And even then, just deal with it, address it. Don't, guilt and shame isn't going to get you anywhere. It's just going to make you feel bad.
I think a lot of it comes from being cheated on in the past.
Sure.
And just wanting that to, move on and wanting her to never do that to me because that's happened in the past.
Sure.
And so, and I think the biggest thing for me, the thing I take out at the end of the day is that every time I have one of these dreams, even though it can be every other week or once every 3 weeks, that it's that every time I'm in the dream, I look over and I see the person's face and I'm super disappointed that it's not her. And I'm looking for my fiance. And I think I find solace in that is that lately I've just made that the point of emphasis I have is that I look for her.
Yeah. And there's some romance in there. Listen, cheating is a choice. We're not preordained to cheat. It doesn't matter what goes on in our brain or what we're attracted to. No one makes us cheat. If we get cheated on, they weren't coerced. We all make these choices. So, your ex-girlfriends, they made the choice to cheat on you. It hurt you. You may not have been the perfect boyfriend then. Doesn't matter. They chose to do that. They could have broken up with you. They could have ended the relationship. They could have done other things other than cheating on you. And your fiance and you to each other can make those choices. So you can have these dreams. And again, if it's a problem, address it. But, you could just be going through some anxiety or some personal conflict in the fact that you've been cheated on. And our dreams, I think can be kind of signals to ourselves as, hey, there's something internal eating away at us, and you should probably try to unpack that. But I don't think you should necessarily feel guilt from that, your kind of inner self telling you that you have some things to unpack. At the end of the day, you're going to be faithful to your fiance and wife because you choose to. And it's not because you never come across some girl or woman who, you find attractive, that turns you on. I wouldn't, I don't think it's healthy to be like, oh, well, I can't help who I'm attracted to as long as I don't cheat on my wife. And I don't think it would be good to mentally close your eyes and masturbate to some girl and be like, well, I didn't cheat on her. And clearly I'm not worried about you doing that because, you're already having a hard time with dreams. But you get what I'm saying? It's we make these choices. We have to be accountable for our choices. We have free will. And sometimes our subconscious can be more or less like a bat signal, if you will, to be like, hey, there's something eating away at us that we should maybe look into. But
No, I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
think that for me is a good perspective, is that, like I said, every night I'm going to bed with her, and like, I love what you said. It's a choice to cheat, and hopefully you don't have to experience it, but a lot of us have. It's
Yeah.
not something that is like, oh my gosh, wow, you've been cheated on. I mean, pretty much everybody in college I had at some point felt like they were cheated on.
yeah, I encourage you to address this, right? I encourage you to look into this. It's okay that it still bothers you, right? It's okay that it still
Mhm.
eats away at you. And it doesn't mean you're not ready to get married or be engaged. And it doesn't mean you're not even ready to be in a relationship. It just means that you haven't fully dealt with it. And I think you should, because, well, it's nice that you can communicate to your fiance and let her know you're insecure about it. You don't want to project those insecurities onto this relationship. And you're probably doing it maybe more than you realize. And it can affect your relationship eventually. So I would encourage you to address those feelings that you have towards the situation on your own, and not necessarily always with your fiance.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
And by on your own, I mean, like, don't include your fiance, like a therapist, a friend, like, just, don't.
I think that's a good point. And like, I've always been a pretty jealous person. I've always been like, I think it comes from the church background. You're mine, you choose me. That's the way this whole thing is that this is how this works, or is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And no, I think that's good. I think we will do like marriage counseling and stuff, which I'm like really excited for. But I think I agree with you, not involving her and diving down into some of the big stuff, doing individual counseling could be a positive. I appreciate that comment.
Yeah, I agree. Well, congratulations. It sounds like you're a great guy, and it sounds like you guys have a good thing going. We all have these little demons and things that we have to deal with, so you're no different. So best of luck. I really appreciate you calling in, and it sounds like you're one of the good ones.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, and I really appreciate the podcast. Like I was telling Chrissy during the call, like, I know this podcast is supposed to be for girls, but I feel like guys can take a lot out of it too.
Yeah, I like to think it's for everyone, but certainly we have a dominant female audience. But I appreciate you saying that.
All right, thanks.
All right, buddy, take care. Well, what a great episode. What a ton of fun. Amanda, what is that thing again that people who are dealing with people with addiction that can go to for like a support system?
Al-Anon.
Al-Anon? How do you spell it?
Al-Anon.
A-L-A-N-O-N. They're doing a lot of virtual meetings right now. So be sure to check that out.
I've been to 3 Al-Anon meetings.
Have you?
I have. I had a boss who had a meth addiction. It's not you.
Thanks for letting me know. Thank you guys for listening. We certainly appreciate all our callers who called in and shared their stories and their vulnerability. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknickatcastme.com, cast with a K. We always appreciate your reviews. 5 stars. We will see you back tomorrow for some more Bachelor.
You're crazy.